I recently moved to a small town. I made a awful mistake. I'm not 100% sure why I'm making this post. I mean, do I just want someone to tell me I wasn't in the wrong, or is this out of some sort of moral imperative, like given what happened, the very least I can do is record what happened and send it out? Kidding, it's the former through and through. That's right, tell me I was right to do what I did, otherwise the guilt might kill me. For the past few months, I've been living in this small town. I don't want to say the name because this is the internet. Don't want to dox myself or anything. Plus, I'd like this to fly as under the radar of the town's other residents as possible. I don't think they're very online, but better safe than sorry, am I right? Anyways, I've sort of settled in here. For context, I'm ostensibly here because it's cheap as hell, so I can save up money this year without spending money, which would sort of defeat the purpose. I mean, get a high-paid job somewhere with high-paid jobs, and then you've got to pay for a high-earner's lifestyle. Not against that. So, getting to live dirt cheap is the ostensible reason. But there's another reason I chose this place, and it's not just the fresh air or whatever. Don't get me wrong, this is a nice, picturesque little place. It's a change of pace for me, who's lived in a city all my life. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but I really do love it here. It feels like home, even though I've only been here for a few months. That's to proportion to the sky too. I'll be sad when the year off is over and I'll have to leave. The real reason though? Research. I don't remember how I stumbled across this place, but I remember what drew me to it. A strange, ominous ritual, and a belief accompanying this ritual. Every 6 months, without fail, one man and one woman will vanish. Their bodies will never turn up. Sort of like some silly story out of a schlocky mystery novel, right? That was what I thought. But then I looked more into the town, saw that this for sure wasn't some sort of tourist attraction, saw that this was a genuine sort of pagan belief. I realized this was the place I needed to go. I had already been looking for a place to stay for the gap year, and this was perfect. Checked all my boxes. I was antsy, and everywhere else I was considering had two obvious downsides. So I packed up and came out here. I'm a bit ashamed to say my research was lackluster. I guess nobody really wanted to talk about it. You'd expect me to say one-word inventions or weird to say hopefully to look forward to. And hopefully, weird to say hopefully, a dual vanishing to stand witness to. Well, but that's kind of besides the point. And the way things are going, I don't really want to think any more about that weird belief. I only mention it to provide context why I'm here, something as to the deal with this place. The point is, I rented an apartment, bedroom, bathroom, and one of those tiny little kitchens separated from the living room with a counter. I've even got a fold-out couch, just in case someone stays over. It's nice. Cozy. I'm not a very sociable person, but I tried to become friends with the neighbors. I live on the 3rd floor of this 4-story building. There are 2 apartments on each floor. The basement has the storage unit. The 1st floor is where the landlady and her family live. The 2nd floor has a 3-person family and a crabby older guy. The family is nice enough, I guess. They say hi to me when we see each other. The guy didn't answer the door when I first tried to introduce myself. He glares at me when we see each other. The 4th floor has a nice woman, a few years older than me probably. The 2nd apartment, I'm not sure who lives here. If the landlady hadn't told me otherwise, I would assume it was unused. I've never seen anyone enter or exit. There'd my floor. The 3rd floor had me and this guy, Noah, about my age I think. This nice, considerate guy. Not a malicious bone in his body. I got along well with him. He's a bit of a kook, to be totally honest. He's obsessed with the eccentric and the paranormal. Believes in ghosts. I have no idea what his real job is. I think he might be some sort of trust fund baby, living off his parents' money. And somehow I guess I let my guard down. Hard not to, for a guy like that. And he found out my real reason for choosing this place. "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" he had complained, face all lit up. "I didn't realize you also were into that kind of stuff." I didn't have the heart to say, "I didn't tell you because I'm not as into it as you. I don't want to go on treks through the wood looking for werewolf prints or whatever. It's academic for me. Not when he was so excited. I guess I didn't think it was very important, I said. Honestly though, I think he already had some sort of idea that I was into that kind of thing. He was always telling me about his new finds, the tail end of some deeper conspiracy, and it was always with a knowing smile, like he knew I would be into it. And I was into it, hearing these stories secondhand. Even his surprise at hearing my true reason for being here felt faux. Like he was always expecting me to say it, he was just unsure of the details. And to interject briefly, I'm trying to be 100% candid in this, right? And my inner monologue tends to run a bit mean, but I swear to you I'm not a jerk in real life. Or not that much of a jerk. Noah and I were friends. I swear I wasn't making fun of him or anything. Not to his face or behind his back. Not even when the father from downstairs made a very leading comment, and I'm sure it's hard living near someone so strange, isn't it? I defended Noah, told the father that the two of us were friends and I really was glad with who I got as a neighbor, that I had won the lottery with him. Not that I say this to try and make you think I'm some saint. I wouldn't be writing this if I was. Just so that you understand, for all my skepticism and inner mockery, all right, it's mockery, I admit it, of Noah, I cared about him. He was my first friend here, the two of us just clicked. And he was a good guy, right until this morning. Noah knocked on my door at like 9 a.m. I'm not a morning person and was pretty groggy when I opened up. He, for his part, was frantic. I think I've figured out something, he said. He was always figuring out something. I invited him in, but he refused. I don't have time to stick around. I just need to ask a favor. It's a major one, so say no really if you can't do it. Slow down, I said. I gently laid a hand on his shoulder. He was practically bouncing up and down. What's happening? I've found something I don't want to say. They know when they're talked about. I can't blow this chance, he gasped. Am travel at night is a great one for immersion. This is just the thing for it. Get out of class when you're up to something, even if it's just 1 second more. Hassle, hust, and bust. He hesitated. I just need someone, he said, if I get in too deep. An escape route, for you to be free to get me if I need you. Look, if you call me, I said, for me to be ready to go and pick you up? You mean like that? He blinked. Basically, he said, I guess. So how is it a major favor? I asked. That's pretty par for course. Well, he blustered, flushing, it could be dangerous. If I'm right, you might be. You could get in serious danger, do you understand? It's hard to understand if I don't even know what you've found, I said. His face scrunched up, tongue-tied. Sorry, he said. It was silly, don't worry. No, I said. No, I didn't mean it like that. Don't be ridiculous. Text or call and I'll be there. We're friends, Noah. He brightened up, especially at the word friend. I think he doesn't have many. I get it. It's nice to be acknowledged. Thank you, he said sincerely. And then he was back in his own apartment. I saw him once more that day, a bit later, lugging out a box. He waved. Supplies, he shouted, pointing at the box. I gave a thumbs up before retreating back inside. I was maybe regretting my promise a bit. It couldn't have been anything real he found, but still, what if he got in trouble with, I don't know, some sort of criminal? But it was too late for second guessing. I had promised. If he texted, I would be there. That meant I had to stay in for the day, which was fine by me. I curled up on the couch and watched Netflix on my laptop. Until 9 p.m, when my phone dinged. Noah had texted me an address. Seriously? I thought. It was dark outside, I was lazy, and maybe a bit scared. Only a bit. At first, I was slow to get up and fumble for my keys, and then I had a moment of clarity. Reaching for higher intelligence, he thought. But why the hell are you dragging your feet like this? Noah could be in real danger while you're lollygagging like this. We can't be. So I grabbed my coat and bundled up. It's cold in the winters here. And then I took the elevator down and headed to my car. Except there was someone right there, leaning against the hood, a strange, indistinct figure. My breath caught in my throat. I stopped and stared. He stared back. "You are not ready," said the man. I gripped my keys tightly. In the moment, I genuinely thought I might vomit. "Get off," I wanted to say. "Get away." A deep, perverse sense of wrongness had filled me. Something sick wriggled around inside my stomach. Instead, I said, "What do you mean?" It was barely a whisper. The question seemed to annoy the man, which in turn terrified me. "You haven't prepared," he said, as if a change of phrasing would help me understand. I started to inch forward again, feeling as though I was stepping through molasses. Part of me wanted to stop. If a crazy guy attacked me, I would lose. And would he really just let me get in and drive off? He seemed so serious and menacing. And besides, there was a sense of otherworldly unease which his presence dredged up. The other part of me whispered, "You promised Noah," and I continued on. "Are you sure you want to go there?" he intoned. I stared. My tongue felt leaden. I was petrified. What the fuck was I supposed to do? He was actively barring me now, in front of the car door. Slowly, I nodded. The man gave me a look up and down. Then he turned and left. I couldn't describe his appearance now. It's strange. The details are so fuzzy. I can barely recall my own actions at the moment. From first catching sight of him to when my nod broke the spell, even right after, sitting in my car and calming down, still jittery, I couldn't remember a thing about what he looked like. And now, trying to make sense of what happened this evening, okay, maybe I should have listened to him, but how could I have? And what would it have done? It would have done nothing. He knew something was happening. I should have at least steeled myself, listened to his cryptic warnings. And now I wish I'd stopped him, begged him for his help, or at least to explain what the hell was going on, who he was, but it's too late for that. I couldn't have known back then. I was still shaken by the time I arrived to the address Noah had texted me, a warehouse by the edge of town. I hesitated. But a promise is a promise, I reminded myself. Find him. And I dragged myself out of the car, one foot in front of the other. The same sense of wrongness which I felt with the man had returned. The building swam in front of my eyes, eerie and looming in the darkness. Probably in the daylight too, to be honest. It was abandoned and run down, and certainly uninviting. The door had been boarded up, but someone had pried off the board. Noah, I thought, grimly staring at the crowbar. Tool from the box. At least I was certainly at the right place. FTR, my phone was at 30% at the time, so I was hesitant to turn on my phone flashlight, but a few paces in and the claustrophobic darkness meant I had no other real choice. The beam cut through, but only a bit. I could only see a foot or so in front of me. Dust mites swarmed through the air. I coughed. Why had Noah disturbed this place? What had he been so convinced he had found? What happened to him? I screwed up my willpower, weighed my options. Either I could continue into the darkness, terrified for my life, or I could shout. Maybe something would find me. But realistically, nothing was here. Noah had gotten lost or trapped and panicked. He was just this nice guy, not cut out for exploring boarded-up places, right? It still terrified me, the prospect of making noise and drawing attention to myself. I dug my fingernails into my palm. "Noah," I yelled, "Anna, where are you?" My voice echoed back at me. "Where are you? Where are you? Where are you?" I took another tentative step forward. Maybe he had already found a way out, had to leave his phone behind, couldn't contact me. I almost turned around and headed out. I was so hopeful. The door clicked, silently shut. "Unk," I heard distantly. "Hurry!" Well, that was that. And hurry. I took off at a half jog, sweeping my flashlight in a broad arc. Nearly every room was boarded up. Something brown-red encrusted swaths of wall and floor. I shuddered reflexively and kept my phone tilted straight ahead. Some things were better not to know at the present moment. I said, and then I saw the light glinting off beady eyes in the corner. I don't hate rats. I had a pet mouse when I was a kid, actually, and I know rats aren't the same as mice, but whatever. I had a soft spot. I wasn't some sort of scaredy cat. But in the moment, the shock was enough to make me drop my phone. I warily bent down to pick it up and something ran over my hand. I gave an undignified shriek, reeling up. At least I had grabbed hold of my phone. I shone my flashlight back to where I had seen those beady eyes. But the creature was gone. It hadn't been looking at me, I think, especially with hindsight. Still freaked me out. Continued the search of the square park. "Ange!" I heard again, louder this time. I was getting closer, and the warehouse was proving to be more of a labyrinth than I had expected. I rounded the corner. "Huh?" "Death," I said. "And?" I asked. "Where are you?" I called back. No response. Then a sharp, piercing scream. My mind went blank. I was so afraid I could hardly think. I thought I might piss my pants, to be honest. Never done that before. But I could only imagine if any situation was right for it, this would be it. Somehow I continued to move forward, as if by autopilot. And that was how I found the staircase. Up or down? I stared at the two options vacantly. Down, I thought. I wasn't sure where this sudden conviction came from, but I somehow knew that what I was looking for was downstairs. I just wasn't sure what I was looking for anymore. So I headed down, clinging tight to the rickety banister. My other hand clutched the phone, knuckles turning white. Then the stairs turned. You know what I mean, when the stairs go one direction, then suddenly 180 degrees the other way, still headed down. And so I turned and paused. I saw Noah perched on a table. Below him, a teeming horde. A horde of hundreds of vermin, armed with sharp little teeth and claws, but more importantly, numbers. A horde of rats and mice and cockroaches and ants. And I thought I saw a rabbit there too, a stoat, a crow, flying at him from above, which he wildly batted away with his torch. Dead battery, no light, and I saw how the table was unbalanced and not on solid ground, probably hadn't been for a while, teetering back and forth in this giant mass under him, saw his phone tip down from the table, the weight crushing a few of the animals, but countless others swarming to take their place, and how the table was tipping, and he was tipping with it, and he was clinging to the table's edge, but he had to fight off those birds who swooped in from above. And even without that, he was sliding down, and there was no way he could possibly keep his balance, and he was so far from the stairs, practically in the center of the room, just dead smack in the middle of throng. "Oh my God," I gasped, stumbling backwards, incredibly nauseous, so terrified that the words had slipped out without me even thinking them, a gut response. He turned to me, and there was an emptiness in his face, a hopeless despair, and I saw a brief light of hope as he saw me. I saw him open his mouth to say something, and I don't know what. And I saw his grip loosen just a bit, and I saw a particularly vicious jerk of the table, and I saw him tip all the way over. I saw the teeming horde close over his head, and I saw hundreds upon hundreds of beady little eyes turn to me. I think you know what I did. I didn't scream, didn't flail. Self-preservation had taken over. I was moving on some greater instinct. I was moving faster than I thought possible, up the stairs, back through those winding hallways, all the while conscious of a stretching behind me, getting closer and closer, because no matter how fast I was, they were faster, and all I had on my side was that slight head start. I ran and ran and ran to my car, got in and slammed on the gas pedal. Looked into my rearview mirror and saw a mass of vermin swelling up behind me like a wave, headed in mindless pursuit. I am a coward. Oh, I'm a normal person, and of course the normal person would be scared. And Noah, whatever fate I left him to I kind of don't want to think about it, not even to speculate. But I suspect I won't have the freedom to ignore reality. I'm typing this out on my computer and keeping my phone as far away as possible. I do that because I got a text a few hours ago, after I had already gotten home and was curled up in bed, willing that what I had seen had been just a dream, or a hallucination, or maybe even a prank. It was that text, in fact, which made it clear to me that I should in fact trust my own eyes. That I had to trust my own eyes. A text message sent from Noah. Why did you leave us? I owe it to Noah to figure out what happened. I promised to help him, and I ran away. But more importantly, if I don't figure this out, I'm next.